Okay, so that's similar to the Gertrude Stein piece. Oh, not words, sorry, what we do? Desktop. There we go, come ahead. I've got another, I've got a poem called 16 Glass Bead Games, which is in Plants, which is over there and alludes to Hermann Hesse's Glass Bead Games, and there was an anthology of sort of art meets poetry called The Dark Wood, and I was invited to submit a piece for that, and I decided to submit 16 more Glass Bead Games. So this is like the sequel, if you like. It's fairly, well, it's kind of self-explanatory. Hermann Hesse's Glass Bead Game is a game which he proposes in which you ask a question to the board. The rules are not known of how you play the game. You ask a question to the board and you play the game. Okay, so that's that piece. I will. I'm going to show you, or do 4 pieces tonight. So the third piece I'm going to do. It's fairly short, and then I'll do a longer piece to finish with. And the piece is called "If I Roll a 5 on the Die, Then I Stamp the Date." And it has some materials that are involved. It has this index box. It has a date stamper. It has slipped here. There's a broken box. Fix that basically. It has an ink pad and it has a number of index cards, and it has a die, and on the die, on every side, it's a 6-sided die, it's the number 5, and the piece is called "If I Roll a 5 on the Die, Then I Stamp the Date." So I'm going to read you some highlights. July 27th, 2013, 28th of July 2013, 5th of July 2013, 6th of July 2013, 11th of August 2013, 12th of August 2013, 13th of August 2013. 23rd of August 2013, 27th of August 2013, 31st of August 2013, 6th of September 2013, 8th of September 2013, 16th of September 2013, 23rd of September 2013, 27th September 2013, 29th September 2013, 1st of October 2013, 2nd of October 2013, 3rd of October 2013, 4th of October 2013, 5th of October 2013, 10th of October 2013. Those are some okay, so the final thing that I'm going to read is called "Two Fat Boys," and I'm going to read some of that. There's a number of poems. Two fat boys. 2 fat boys walk past 2 other fat boys, both wearing suits. 2 fat boys. 2 fat boys, one is slightly fatter than the other. 2 fat boys are fighting to see who will be friends with the 3rd fat boy. 1 fat boy gets lost in the woods holding a stick. 2 fat boys. In Croydon, 2 fat boys, Rick and Sam, are drunk under the moon. Neither have ever been fallen in love with. 2 fat boys. 2 fat boys in a kaleidoscope photo wearing Audrey green slacks like the colour of the grass, look like they don't have bottom halves to their bodies. 2 fat boys. 4 wickets in 1 innings. Ah, that was such a long time ago, thinks 1 fat boy at the desk eating spreadable cheese sandwiches. 2 fat boys. 2 fat boys looking at the fish in the fish pond. How lovely the fish are in the fish pond. 2 fat boys in the back of a Vauxhall Astra. 2 fat boys. 2 fat boys fight over a snap ruler. The next day they're best of friends again, having a lack and having no one else to fill that lack. 2 fat boys. 2 fat boys looking at the fish in the fish pond. One pushes the other in. 1 fat boy. Nancy walks up to Rick in the playground with all her girlfriends and asks him out for a date. That evening he waits outside the cinema for an hour or two, without cigarettes, then goes home. Two fat boys in the back of a Honda Civic. Two fat boys in Calais, the only ones who can speak French. Nancy, still unimpressed, allows Joe Slick to ooh-la-la her tra-la-la. One fat boy is forever betraying people to win the friendship of Joe Slick. Two fat boys in Calais with tender little erections play snap with pornographic playing cards. Two fat boys outside Ladbrokes, busily eating chips with their dad's 7 pigeons. Two fat boys along Istagale cycle past Alex and Maya smoking cigarettes in the sunshine. One fat boy gradually crushes to death a moth. Nancy is combing her Li Ching Chow hair and notices two fat boys looking through the cracks of the changing room walls. She lifts up her top just for kicks, grinning but they're blushing. One fat boy meets Nancy in a bar after many, many years and a girlfriend of hers. "I'm a writer," she says. "I'm a writer." Two fat boys, Donald Duck. Two fat boys, David Duck. One fat boy, the moon, nothing. One fat boy. The moon, Nancy. One fat boy. The moon, one fat boy. The moon, Buddha. One fat boy. The moon, one fat boy. The moon. Two fat boys, duck. Two fat boys, neither of us moves. One fat boy, fragment. Two fat boys sit near Buddha in a bamboo grove drinking beer. Two fat boys, Daffy Duck. Two fat boys. One fat boy opens his mail. The Midland Bank want their money back. Two fat boys, duck. Two fat boys, rabbit. Two fat boys, I listened to Chaz and Dave with him. Two fat boys, I listened to Dennis Wilson with him. Two fat boys, I watched The Crucible with him. Two fat boys, I attended a board meeting with him. Two fat boys sit next to a concussed sheep and a laughing Buddha. Which is which now? Sam, I live next to him, he lived next to me. Rick, I live next to him, he lived next to me. Thank you.